I request everyone to kindly be seated. All mobile phones kept on silent mode and the exit doors to be closed, please. On behalf of IAFI, I, Manhar Rashid, take a great pleasure in welcoming all our distinguished delegates, subject expert speakers, senior government officials, guests from overseas, and friends from press and media to day one of 5th India Spectrum Management Conference and Exhibition 2025. And for me, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege and honor to be a part and serve as a master of ceremony for this incredible conference. Today, we are honored to have the august presence of thought leaders and visionaries to share their expertise with all of us from across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's begin today's proceedings with our inaugural session. And let me have a privilege of inviting the President of IAFI, Mr. Bharat Bhatia, on stage. Can we have a huge hand, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, sir. I would like to request Mr. Bhatia to do the honors of welcoming our eminent dignitaries by presenting a shawl. Our honorable chief guests and special guests of honors have been gracious enough to join us this morning. May we all welcome them with a huge round of applause, please. I request and invite our honorable chief guest, Shri Anil Kumar Lahoti ji, Chairman TRI. Welcome, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lahoti, for gracing today's conference. Can we have a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Please join me in welcoming on the stage the respected chief guest, Mr. Maniewicz, Director, Radio Communication Bureau, ITU. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. We welcome our guest of honors, respected Shri Rudra Narayan Pillai, Member Technology, Department of Telecommunications, Government of India. Welcome, sir. Please join your hands and welcome respected Mr. Charles Cooper, Associate Administrator, Office of Spectrum Management, NTIA, USA. Welcome, sir. Please give a warm welcome to respected Ms. Revati Mannepalli, Joint Wireless Advisor, Government of India, and India's candidate for Director, Radio Communication, ITU. Welcome, ma'am. Please welcome with a huge hand the Vice Chairman, IAFI, Professor N.K. Goyal. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Professor Goyal. I once again would like to express my deepest gratitude to our distinguished guests for taking the time out and be a part of ISMC 2025. Let us now begin with the inaugural session by inviting Mr. Bharat Bhatia, President IAFI, to please give the welcome address. Mr. Bharat Bhatia brings over 45 years of expertise in telecom and ICT policy, regulations, and spectrum management. He also chairs PPDR working groups for ITU and APT, a key architect of India's first national frequency allocation plans in 1981 and 2000. He was instrumental in opening India's telecom sector, including the first GSM metro cellular licensing in 1992. Mr. Bhatia holds a BE in Electronics and Telecommunications from the University of Delhi and is a fellow of IETE. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Respected Shri Anil Kumar Lahoti ji, Chairman, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, respected Mr. Maniewicz, Director, Radio Communication Bureau, ITU, respected Shri Rudran Palaiji, Member Technology, Department of Telecommunications, respected Mr. Charles Cooper, Associate Administrator of Spectrum Management, NTIA, USA, Madam Revati Mannapalli, Joint Wireless Advisor, Government of India, and India's candidate for the post of Director, Radio Communication Bureau at the Plenipotentiary Conference in the late 2026. We are actually privileged to have you, ma'am. And Professor N.K. Goel, our Vice Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished VIPs, esteemed guests, delegates, colleagues from global telecommunication community. It's my great privilege and honor as President of ITU-APT Foundation of India to welcome you all to this inaugural session of the 5th India Spectrum Management Conference hosted by IAFI. This is our 5th in the ISMC series. We do it every year. And this is organized by the ITU-APT. Internationally, it is known as IAFI or IAFI. Most people call it IAFI in ITU meetings, and that's how this name has become very common in most of the ITU and APT meetings. IAFI is a non-political, non-profit industry foundation. It was founded 24 years ago by Honorable Padam Shri P.S. Saranji, who was Chairman Telecom Commission. And it is led, managed, and hosted by a group of telecom professionals, most of them who have worked in Department of Telecommunication and its allied agencies. Our main role is to promote India's active participation in ITU and APT activities, promoting alignment and harmonization of India's telecom and ICT policies with global norms and standards. To this end, IAFI has been recognized as an international regional organization and granted sector membership of ITU-R, ITU-T, and ITU-D, and thanks to ITU, represented here by my friend, Mr. Maniewicz. And we have been very actively involved in the ITU and APT activities. Every year, we submit 50 to 100 contributions to various meetings of ITU-R, ITU-T, ITU-D. Most recent was the WTDC conference in Baku, where a number of contributions were sent by us through the Indian administration and the APT. Our activities include standards, R&D coordination, rural connectivity initiatives, strong representation at the international meetings, in particular Working Party 5D, which is responsible for all the 5G, 6G standards, Working Party 4ABC, which represents all the satellite community, Working Party 5ABC, all the land mobile and other terrestrial services, at the WTDC, World Telecom Development Conference, WTSA, which was held in India earlier, World Telecom Standards Assembly, Asia Pacific Group for preparation of WRC 27, APG, and we have very strong presence in that. This two-day conference, which will be held today and tomorrow, it gathers thought leaders from India and across the globe to discuss national spectrum management issues, as well as international WRC 27 agenda items. Some of the key items include spectrum for 6G, particularly from the 2025 to 2040, which we believe 6 to 8 gigahertz is a very good spectrum for 6G, and this is one of the main agenda items of WRC 27 and agenda item 1.7. And that 6 to 8 gigahertz can support up to 4 mobile operators with 400 megahertz each. MSS spectrum is also very critical, direct to device, Agenda item 1.13 is very critical for the industry, connecting the unconnected and reaching out places which have so far remained outside the high-speed internet. Agenda item 1.13 will definitely provide a way forward with that. Blocking the unauthorized transmissions from the earth stations which are not authorized by the country is another very important agenda item 1.5. This year in particular, our focus is on 6G and AI, artificial intelligence in spectrum management. And to that effect, this event has been recognized by the Government of India as an official pre-event of the AI Impact Summit, which will be organized by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. I am therefore pleased to welcome you all to this mega event. We had to limit the number of participants because of the size of the place we could get. Because of marriage season, all the auditoriums are quite full. But I think this is more compact and much more conducive to having a very close interactions and discussions. And I'm sure we will have very fruitful 2 days. I'm also taking this opportunity to seek everyone's support for canvassing India's candidacy for Director of Radio Bureau, of which India has fielded Madam Revati Manapalli ji. And I think we will hope everybody here will carry that message back to their countries and support our candidates. The presence of all the spectrum stakeholders, and I see many of them here, I won't be able to name all of them, but I think we have all that is relevant to spectrum management is right here. Your presence here underscores our shared commitment to a connected world. Let's make ISMC 25 a milestone in spectrum excellence, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bhatia, for your opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to take the opportunity to invite on the dais Ms. Revati Manapalli, Joint Wireless Advisor, Government of India, and India's candidate for Director, Radio Communication, ITU. She is a 1996 batch Group A officer of the Indian Radio Regulatory Services, a highly respected frequency expert for the Asia-Pacific region. Due to her deep association with ITU-APT, she was elected to the Radio Regulatory Board of ITU-R. Furthermore, she served as a spectrum regulatory expert, assisting the Department of Space with international arbitration at The Hague. She has actively participated in numerous spectrum management meetings at both ITU, Union, and Asia-Pacific telecommunity levels. Please welcome Ms. Revati Manapalli.
Thanks for that nice introduction. I'm a 94 batch IRRS officer, joined the department in 96. That's okay. Respected Chairman Toy, Member Technology Digital Communication Commission, and Director Radio Communication Bureau, and other dignitaries on the dais, distinguished speakers and delegates, good morning to you all. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to ITU-APT Foundation for organizing this very important conference and for inviting me to be part of it. They've been always canvassing for me and always supporting for me. And special thanks to Mr. Bhatia for your unconditional support. And I extend a warm welcome to all expert speakers and delegates, especially those joining us from abroad to India and to this conference. As he already told, this is the 5th edition of the conference, and it is particularly timely as it is being held immediately after a key ITU event related to WRC 27 preparations. That is the Inter-Regional Information Session on WRC 2027. Just happened in December, from December 3rd to December 5th, under the able guidance of our Director, Radio Communication Bureau, Mr. Mario. This two-day conference will address the spectrum roadmap for both the terrestrial and satellite growth, along with several important WRC 27 agenda items. As already highlighted by Mr. Bhatia in his opening remarks, the most important items for us include agenda item 1.7, that is nothing but IMT spectrums, and agenda item 1.13, that is direct-to-device spectrum and regulations, agenda item 1.2, that is about small antenna terminals, user terminals for the FSS, and agenda item 1.5, that is unauthorized use of satellite user terminals in both MSS and FSS, and agenda item 1.6, that is equitable use of spectrum in the Q and V bands, as well as agenda items 7 and 8, because we are working on agenda item 7, that is satellite regulatory issues, and agenda item 8, we want to include India's name in some of the footnotes for the especially IMT usage, among others. Since these items will be deliberated in detail by expert panels over 2 days, I will not go into the specifics of India's current position on these agenda items. You will listen to the experts because it's been suitably factored into the various expert panels for these 2 days. We are presently at the midpoint of the study cycle for WRC 27, that is spanning from 24 to 27 year, to arrive at a position by conducting sharing and compatibility studies with the agreed technical parameters and providing suitable regulatory text for the CPM report. At the national level, the work is being carried out through a national preparatory committee, which is chaired by wireless advisors to the Government of India. The NPC is supported by 5 working groups, each responsible for one of the CPM report chapter. This structure is closely aligned with the APG framework, that is the APT preparatory group for the WRC, where they have 5 working parties, each corresponding to one of the CPM report chapter. We have already initiated this work by holding 2 NPC meetings, National Preparatory Committee meetings, and several working group meetings with relevant stakeholders and actively contributed to the APG. As you are aware, APG has so far conducted 2 preparatory meetings with a substantial work started from the APT's second meeting onwards. And India has shared its preliminary views and based on the national consultations, which have been appropriately factored into the APG positions. I take this opportunity to thank all the stakeholders for their valuable contributions. For the most of the agenda item, we are still in the phase of supporting the coexistence studies. Based on the outcome of these studies, we will be able to arrive at an informed decision. This situation is broadly similar across all the regions, except for a few agenda items where proponents have shown some progress because they are the proponents. They have shown that we have observed in the IRIS session. I would like to commend ITU Radio Communication Bureau for successfully conducting its first IRIS meeting, which has provided a common platform for all the region groups to exchange their views, not only views, the challenges faced in addressing these agenda items. Now that there is a clearer understanding of perspectives and challenges faced by all the 6 regions, I earnestly request all the esteemed stakeholders present here to take this into account while submitting their proposal to NPC here, NPC in India, working groups for consideration. I am confident that the experts gathered here will deliberate on these issues constructively and arrive at a consensus-based way forward on the majority of the agenda items. The 3rd APG meeting is scheduled in July 2026. I am sure the preparatory work at the NPC level already started. And the outcome of this conference will play a significant role in shaping and finalizing our contributions to the APG. In conclusion, I once again thank ITU-APT Foundation of India for organizing this conference and wish the event very success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maniewicz, for sharing your expertise with us. I would now like to invite Mr. Charles Cooper, Associate Administrator Officer of Spectrum Management, NTIA, USA. He leads the agency's work on national and international spectrum policy issues and oversees spectrum management efforts for federal agencies. He's responsible for frequency assignment and certification, and he was before 2019 he was Enforcement Bureau Field Director at Federal Communications Commission. Prior to serving as Field Director, he was District Director of FCC's Los Angeles Field Office. Mr. Cooper is both an electrical engineer and a registered professional engineer. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for the kind introduction, and it's such a joy for me to be back in Delhi. I really enjoy making the journey out here, not only to visit with you, to see my good friend Bharat and the ITU-APT, and join the distinguished Indian government officials, Mario from the ITU Radio Bureau, and other guests to discuss spectrum policy. We're getting snow today in Washington, D.C., so this is a great time of year for me to be here. So on behalf of the U.S. government, I will be discussing three topics briefly this morning: the current and future of IMT, the terrestrial broadband deployment in the United States, unlicensed operations in the 6 gigahertz band, and space spectrum, both direct-to-device and broadband subscriber services. So the first topic being current and future IMT. This is for 5G and 6G deployment in the United States. Pursuant to recent legislation passed by the U.S. Congress called the Big Beautiful Bill Act, the FCC and my agency, the NTIA, will be identifying 800 megahertz for 5G and 6G terrestrial use in the coming years. The first spectrum to be identified will be the 3 gigahertz band. The United States is optimizing the 3 gigahertz band for 5G operations. Our wireless carriers, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, have already been using the 3 gigahertz band for several years and are very pleased with the performance and coverage for 5G, including getting signals into buildings. In 2020, parts of the 3 gigahertz band were auctioned off for $90 billion US, and our wireless carriers want more of it. The spectrum identified will be coming from what we call the upper C-band, which is essentially 4.0 gigahertz and just above that range. As you know, the radio altimeter band used by commercial aircraft to determine its height above ground level for critical phases of flight is located from 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz. Therefore, these upper C-band, high-powered 5D terrestrial operations will require a new generation of radio altimeters to be installed on commercial aircraft. This is not going to be an easy requirement, but the U.S. has already been on this for several years, working with aviation stakeholders, including Boeing and Airbus. The use of the spectrum in the United States will jumpstart the new altimeter production in its worldwide supply chain. This is America's gift to the world on spectrum, as every commercial aircraft flying within the United States and into the United States from other countries will require these new altimeters at some point in the future. This gives countries an opportunity to assess if expanded 5G operations would be an option for their country in the upper C-band. As for other studies pursuant to the Big Beautiful Bill Act, NTIA will be studying other spectrum bands for commercial and 5G and 6G operations in the lower 7 gigahertz band, the 2700 megahertz band, and the 4 gigahertz band. These bands have significant usage by our agencies within the United States, such as the Department of War, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the National Weather Service. But we remain confident we will obtain and identify spectrum within these bands. You will notice in my discussion today of various bands for repurposing for IMT, I did not mention yet the 6 gigahertz band. Congress did not include the 6 gigahertz bands in spectrum bands mandated for repurposing studies in the Big Beautiful Bill Act. But then again, it did not explicitly rule out that band either. as it did for the lower 3 gigahertz band and 7.4 to 8.4 gigahertz. That led to some speculation and perhaps some misinformation that the United States is planning to repurpose some part of the 6 gigahertz band for mobile broadband. As my boss, Assistant Secretary Ariel Roth, made clear a few weeks ago at our own America Spectrum Management Conference in Washington, the Big Beautiful Bill Act does not alter the U.S. policy for 6 gigahertz band. The 6 gigahertz band was designated for unlicensed use during the first Trump administration, and that remains our position. The 6 gigahertz will remain unlicensed in the United States. While some countries are exploring a mix of IMT and Wi-Fi in the upper 6 gigahertz band, maintaining Wi-Fi access in the upper part of that band is essential for the future of Wi-Fi technology in the United States. The spectrum is uniquely positioned to sustain the evolution of the Wi-Fi ecosystem and enable the next generation of digital innovation. So moving on to space. We believe that space direct-to-device connectivity is one of the more interesting and unexpected developments in the space ecosystem in the United States. The direct-to-device augments existing coverage by eliminating dead zones in rural and geographically challenging areas where towers are not economically nor logistically viable. We believe that United States consumers don't care whether their connection comes from a terrestrial or satellite network. They just want the technology to work. That's why convergence, the merging of networks that Mario speaks so frequently about, is such a powerful and promising part of the 6G vision. Key direct-to-device use cases are varied and compelling, encompassing emergency services and public safety, enterprise, and industrial Internet of Things. For public safety, direct-to-device provides a critical lifeline during natural disasters when terrestrial infrastructure may not be available, such as when it's damaged. I grew up along the Gulf Coast in the United States, which is subject to many hurricanes. Many years when I was subject to those hurricanes, we would not have the connectivity available from terrestrial networks, so having this satellite connectivity will be a very welcome benefit when those powerful hurricanes do strike the mainland. With regard to satellite broadband, the FCC has launched a rulemaking that would open up around 20,000 megahertz of spectrum for satellites in a wide variety of bands, including the 12.7 to 13.25, 42 gigahertz, 52 gigahertz, and even up in the very high gigahertz range, the W band, going from 92 to about 114 gigahertz. This will essentially benefit the new era of non-geostationary orbit NGSO satellite constellations used by Amazon Leo and Starlink, providing real gains in new broadband activity in rural areas, which the United States has already incorporated in our BEAD, our broadband grant program, which is connecting the remaining unconnected in the United States using a wide variety of services, including satellite, fixed point-to-point wireless, and fiber, depending upon the economics of which area it's being served. SpaceX also has a pending application before the Federal Communications Commission to increase the constellation size and the amount of spectrum it will be using. Look for FCC action on this application in the coming months. And I can't close out remarks without mentioning the WRC. In order to be successful, we need close coordination with the United States government, but also with our international colleagues, such as India. A fragmented spectrum world is a race to the bottom, where innovation slows, costs rise, and consumers lose. The United States will enter WRC 27 with a clear vision, champion flexible use policies that enable innovation, supporting spectrum harmonization where it benefits consumers and global scale, and defending the principle that its technological progress should not be held up by regulatory barriers. For us, that means entering the conference with a strong position on the 6 gigahertz band and for enabling the satellite industry to reach its full potential. Stand by as we get closer to the WRC for our positions. Thank you again for inviting me to this conference, and I look forward to the next 2 days.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cooper, for sharing your expertise with us. I would now like to have a privilege of inviting respected Sri Rudranarayan Pillai, Member Technology, Department of Telecommunications, Government of India, at the dais. Sri Pillai is an officer of Indian Telecom Services since 1989. He has over 37 years of leadership experience spanning telecommunications, IT infrastructure, cyber security, public policy, e-governance, spectrum management, telecom licensing, and developing the 5G ecosystem and 6G initiatives. His key areas of expertise and contributions are shaping IT and telecom policies, leading national network rollouts, expertise in electronics, CKD, SKD assembly, telecom network planning, and project management. Please join me in welcoming Sri Rudranarayan Pillai. Sir.
Respected Sri Anil Kumar Lahoti, Chairman TRI, Mr. Maniewicz, Director, Radio Communication Bureau, ITU, Mr. Charles Cooper, Associate Administrator, Office of Spectrum Management, NTIA USA, Mrs. Revti, Joint Wireless Advisor, Department of Telecom, and India's candidate for Director, Radio Communication, ITU. Sri Bhatia, Bharat Bhatia, President, IAFI, Professor N.K. Goel, Vice Chair, Chairman IAFI, senior officers from DOT, ministries, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I must convey my thanks to the organizer, IAFI, for inviting me to this conference. Radio communication and per se radio spectrum is a finite resource supporting diverse applications and thus requires to be used in the most optimal manner. New radio communication applications and evolving technologies require additional spectrum to support higher data rates, new mobility requirements, and expanded usage scenarios. As multiple radio communication services compete for the same spectrum bands, managing coexistence and sharing remains a challenge, and particularly to government and regulatory bodies. Increasing commercial demands has prompted governments to consider repurposing of various radio frequencies, including the frequency bands that have traditionally used by the legacy users. In the international context, radio communication has to be used by different countries in a harmonized manner so that there is no interference across the international borders. Coordinated global and regional spectrum use enables international roaming, ensures technical compatibility, and support interference-free operations of radio communication systems. Therefore, it becomes imperative that different nations arrive at an understanding amongst themselves regarding use of the radio spectrum. This is achieved under the umbrella of ITU through World Radio Communication Conference. And in that respect, WRC 2027 in China is very, very important. The spectrum requirements for various uses such as narrowband IoT, regulatory provisions for direct satellite to mobile handsets, D2D services can play a transformative role in bridging the digital divide by providing coverage in the areas lacking terrestrial networks. However, it is also present several challenges, including the need to protect the terrestrial IMT systems from interference, manage potential cross-border signal issues, and address associated security concerns such as unauthorized use. On the technology front, India is actively contributing to the development of IMT 2030, 6G standards in the ITU-R Working Party 5D. Our contributions are aligned with the Bharat 6G vision of affordable, sustainable, and ubiquitous 6G. The growing importance of satellite communication is evident from the fact that a significant share of the WRC 2027 agenda items pertains to satellite-based services. Satellite systems hold immense potential to bridge the digital divide by extending telecommunication services to remote and unserved regions. To fully rationalize and realize the benefits, it is essential to establish the appropriate regulatory frameworks that both safeguards the continued operation of coexistence of satellite networks and facilitate the deployment emerging low Earth orbit and medium Earth orbit constellations. So as far as the government is concerned, the main focus will be on rural connectivity through the satellite applications. Second is the development of indigenous technology. Then certainty in policy. And to affect this, government has taken many steps in the policy imperatives, particularly the refarming of the spectrum. And as you know that that Government of India has refarmed the frequency to the tune of 687 megahertz, particularly for the use of IMT band. And as far as the 6G, 6 gigahertz band is concerned, that government is thinking to reserve that 700 megahertz band exclusively for IMT in the band of 6.425 to 7.125 gigahertz. So this provides the ecosystem builders or those who are developing the ecosystems to have with certainty they can develop the technologies in India. And particularly as far as the spectrum for 6G is concerned, that clear roadmap is being defined by the Government of India so that ecosystem develops accordingly. There may be the demand for completely 6G spectrum for IMT, that's 1200 megahertz band, but this is a mix and match situation. There are a lot of that thought process of reserving full spectrum reserved for the Wi-Fi. One school of thought is thinking that the reverse should happen for India. But as a clear roadmap, that government is considering 700 megahertz in the upper band for IMT. As far as the art stations are concerned, for facilitating our own sovereign regulatory compliances from security point of view, that the government is still is considering granting the authorization to the ground-based stations as a service. And managing radio spectrum efficiently by balancing the diverse needs of radio communication services and users, it is essential for building a strong and connected India. As new technology grow, global discussions like in the forums like WRC 2027 shape the global spectrum use. We need to ensure that continuity of existing services while considering the development of the new ones, such as 6G, satellite broadband, IoT. By using the spectrum efficiently and in a harmonized way, we can make our communication service more reliable, affordable, and available everywhere. I must thank the organizations for giving me the opportunity. I wish that today this conference will have a great success. There will be a lot of deliberations, then a lot of exchange of ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shri Palai, for sharing your expert views with us. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I welcome our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Mario Maniewicz, Director, Radio Communication Bureau, ITU, at the dais. Mr. Mario is a highly distinguished electronics engineer and telecommunications specialist. He is a true veteran of ITU, dedicated over 30 years to the organization across its radio communication and development bureaus and regional offices. His extensive experience includes managing the global radio frequency spectrum and satellite orbits as Deputy Director of BR and serving as the overall organization and Secretary of the pivotal World Radio Communication Conference 2015. Let us all give a warm round of applause as we invite Mr. Maniewicz to deliver his keynote speech. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests in the high table, all protocols observed. Dear friends, it's a great pleasure to join you at the 5th India Spectrum Management Conference. I would like to start by thanking the ITU-APT Foundation of India for the kind invitation and to express my appreciation for India's continued support to the work of the ITU in general and to that of the Radio Communication Bureau in particular. It's okay. It worked. Okay. Many of you are already familiar with the ITU, of course. But nevertheless, let me share with you that this year, the ITU is celebrating its 160th anniversary. It was founded as the International Telegraph Union 160 years ago, and following the creation of the United Nations, it became the UN Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies. Today, the ITU plays a central role in the global allocation of the radio frequency spectrum and associated satellite orbits through international regulations and global radio communication standards. Effective spectrum management is essential to advancing technological progress and delivering innovation that benefits India and the global community. India, with its large population and rapid technological advancement, has defined a vision for 6G based on affordability, sustainability, and ubiquity. These priorities align closely with ITU's key drivers for technology trends towards 2030 and beyond, namely societal goals, market expectations, and operational necessities. India's progress towards the next generation connectivity relies strongly on industry, academia, and research institutions. The standardization process of IMT 2030 also relies on the same contributions. As with other emerging services and applications, IMT 2030 may require additional spectrum to support traffic growth, and in some cases, wider channel bandwidth to meet connectivity needs. As you know, the identification and allocation of such frequency bands for IMT and other services is done through the World Radio Communication Conference process. So allow me to move to the WRC 27. The exact dates and location for WRC 27 have now been confirmed. The conference will take place in Shanghai, China, from 18 October to 12 November 2027. It will be preceded by the Radio Communication Assembly and followed immediately by the first session of the CPM for WRC 31. This slide shows the full cycle of the WRC process, beginning with the previous conference and progressing through the work of the ITUR study groups towards the WRC 27. We are currently at the midpoint of the study cycle. Several milestones have already been reached in development sharing and compatibility studies using agreed service characteristics and parameters. Significant progress is expected over the coming year. I will now highlight some WRC 27 agenda items that are especially relevant to this conference and to India. These include spectrum for future IMT systems, including 6G, mobile satellite service for direct-to-device connectivity and Internet of Things, and unauthorized operations of non-geostationary satellite orbit Earth stations. Agenda item 1.7 addresses the identification of additional frequency bands for the terrestrial component of IMT. Working Party 5D from Study Group 5 of ITUR is currently conducting technical and compatibility studies. Key issues under discussions include, firstly, the comparison and consolidation of studies with harmonized methodologies, propagation models, and parameter selection across contributions. Secondly, consensus on technical assumptions for radio altimeters. And finally, addressing the impact of existing services on IMT, often referred to as reverse studies. Agenda item 113 is about direct connectivity between space stations and IMT user equipment, complementing terrestrial networks, and constitute also a major topic for WRC 27. This agenda item considers potential new MSS allocations with frequency bands currently used by terrestrial IMT systems, as you can see on this slide. Responsibilities and timelines were assigned to Working Parties 4C and 5D. Working Party 4C leads work on operational concepts and sharing studies, while Working Party 5D focuses on technical and regulatory measures to protect terrestrial IMT systems. Key challenges for this agenda item includes coexistence between satellite and terrestrial networks, roles and responsibilities of mobile and satellite operators and their corresponding administrations, and cross-border coordination to mitigate issues of harmful interference. Agenda item 112 concerns low data rate, non-geostationary mobile satellite systems supporting the Internet of Things. These systems require much less spectrum than traditional MSS and may operate with package loss and periodic or intermittent transmission. When implemented using small satellites with limited weight and power, appropriate interference mitigating measures can facilitate spectrum sharing and compatibility. Working Party 4C is carrying out studies on technical characteristics, spectrum needs, and coexisting mechanisms for low data rate systems. Open items include defining low data rate, managing overlapping frequency bands with other agenda items, and how multiple low data rate MSS systems will coexist. Agenda item 1.5 considers regulatory measures and implementability to limit the unauthorized operations of non-GSO systems in the fixed satellite and mobile satellite services. While these are existing regulations, While there are existing regulations addressing this issue, such as Article 18 of the Radio Regulations and Resolutions 22 and 25, unauthorized operations have proven difficult to stop. Key challenges include enforcing existing regulations, particularly when constellations are filed through multiple administrations, and clarifying the responsibilities of the notifying administrations and the concept of the service area. The CPM text is expected to propose methods to address these challenges, including potential modifications to existing provisions or new provisions designed to hinder unauthorized operations while safeguarding authorized ones. As you can see, extensive, it's been a short night. Extensive work is underway in the ITU-R study groups in preparation for WRC 27. Sharing and compatibility studies are assessing how different services can use the spectrum effectively while minimizing interference. Working documents and the draft CPM text are being developed to support WRC 27 decisions. In addition, reports, recommendations, and handbooks are under development on broader radio communication issues, such as the standardization of IMT 2030. All this work depends on active contributions from member states, industry, academia, and research institutes. For those of you who are not yet part of the ITU, I encourage you to join our community of 194 member states, more than 1,000 private sector members, and over 170 academia members. For those of you who are already participating in ITU-R study groups, I thank you. Your technical contributions form the foundation of global standards, drive innovation, advance global connectivity, and help ensure that ICTs benefit all. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maniewicz, for sharing your worthy viewpoints with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly, truly honored and grateful for our honorable chief guest, Shri Anil Kumar Lahoti ji, Chairman TRI, for joining us today and gracing the conference. He joined the services as 1984 batch Group A officer in the Indian Railway Service of Engineers and culminated his 37-year career in Indian Railways and superannuated as the chairman and CEO of Railway Board. A gold medalist in civil engineering with a master's from IIT Roorkee, he held pivotal roles across various railway zones and railway board. It is our privilege to have such a visionary leader with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join your hands and give a warmest welcome to Shri Lahoti ji. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, national as well as international representatives from the industry, government, academia, and media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to deliver this keynote address to this distinguished gathering on this important subject of 5th India Spectrum Management Conference organized by ITU-APT Foundation of India. I congratulate ITU-APT for choosing this very topical subject, and which is very important in the context of WRC 27, and most of all it lies at the heart of digital transformation, that is the efficient, forward-looking, and equitable management of radio spectrum. Spectrum is not merely a technical resource, it is a strategic national asset. The way we plan, allocate, harmonize, and optimize this scarce resource will determine the quality of connectivity, the pace of innovation, and the inclusiveness of digital growth in our country. India stands at a pivotal moment in this telecom journey. Over the last decade, we have witnessed an unprecedented expansion of broadband connectivity, rapid 5G rollout, and a massive increase in data consumption. A crucial factor for the further growth is the nuance with which we deal spectrum management. It is not merely an administrative function, but an strategic intervention for national development. Due to timely availability of IMT spectrum in requisite frequency bands and government's enabling policies, India has seen the fastest growth of 5G rollout. During the last 3 years, since its launch in October 2022, telecom service providers have rapidly expanded their 5G services and have covered all the states and union territories in India. As of October 2025, over 500,000 5G base stations have been deployed. There are 376 million 5G wireless data subscribers, and 5G data usage is already nearly 9.5 million terabytes. Digital connectivity has become the foundation of economic transformation. High quality, affordable, and reliable connectivity is driving financial inclusion, expanding access to education, strengthening e-governance, and nurturing India's startup ecosystem. Spectrum in this is the invisible infrastructure that underpins this transformation. Spectrum management policies have to enable the national priorities of universal broadband access, resilient and secure networks, and high-capacity infrastructure for industry as well as public services. In the last week, TRAI has sent its recommendations to the central government on the framework for assignment of radio backhaul spectrum, which includes traditional microwave bands, E-band, and V-band. These recommendations have been made keeping in view that backhaul spectrum is an important enabler of telecommunication services, and therefore a holistic framework is required to promote its optimal uptake and utilization. To cater to the diverse requirements of different authorized entities, including captive users, TRAI has recommended an enabling policy for the assignment of backhaul spectrum. These recommendations also comprehensively overhaul and rationalize the backhaul spectrum charging framework. Further, in view of the importance of backhaul spectrum, TRAI has also recommended for creating a digital platform and a comprehensive database where all the backhaul spectrum links could be populated, and it becomes an efficient tool for backhaul spectrum management, be it planning, coordination among service providers, or a digital single window for obtaining various clearances and approvals. Our further direction is being guided by the principles of efficiency, flexibility, and innovation. TRAI has promoted optimal use of spectrum through refarming of frequency bands, dynamic spectrum sharing, carrier aggregation, and technology-neutral allocations. In this regard, TRAI in April 2024 recommended interband access spectrum sharing between access service providers, leasing of access spectrum, and suggested the government to explore authorized share access based spectrum sharing also. These measures will provide flexibility to the telecommunication ecosystem. This will also encourage innovation in areas such as private 5G networks, industrial IoT, smart cities, etc. A major reform underway is the transition in the licensing and authorization framework under the Telecommunication Act 2023. India is moving from a traditional license-centric regime to a converged, simplified authorization framework that is technology neutral. This shift is designed to enable faster market entry, reduce regulatory complexity, and create clearer pathways for emerging services. A transparent and predictable authorization framework, we believe, will attract long-term investment, encourage innovation, and ensure orderly and sustainable growth of the sector. In today's world, emergence of satellite communication technology in general and device-to-device connectivity in particular offers the potential for supplemental coverage in remote, border, rural, and disaster-prone areas. This technology can significantly strengthen emergency response systems, improve maritime and aviation safety, and help achieve universal service objectives. However, enabling this innovation requires a carefully balanced regulatory approach to manage coexistence between terrestrial and satellite networks, to prevent harmful interference and establish transparent, predictable licensing and authorization frameworks. Our objective is to create an enabling environment that supports innovation while protecting network integrity and ensuring consumer interest. In this direction, TRAI has made enabling recommendations in the authorization framework under the Telecommunication Act 2023. Once implemented, these recommendations will enable satellite-based broadband services in India. The draft National Telecommunication Policy 2025 of the government provides a strategic direction for achieving universal and meaningful connectivity, ensuring affordable and quality services, promoting innovation, research and development, indigenous manufacturing, strengthening spectrum planning and harmonization, encouraging spectrum sharing, trading, and leasing to improve utilization. Draft NTP 25 envisions a future-ready ecosystem where regulation acts as an enabler of growth and innovation. TRAI remains fully committed in translating this vision into practical and implementable regulatory frameworks. As we look ahead, preparation for the next generation of technologies is already underway. The 6G technology will build upon 5G technology and provide more reliable, ultra-low latency, and affordable solutions to enhance and drive new communication applications. For India, it is vital to identify 6G technologies that are likely to make a major impact in addressing the needs of the economy and in meeting the challenges in an affordable manner. It is also noteworthy that India is playing an increasingly proactive role through national research initiatives and strong public-private partnerships. The future of 6G will require access to mid-band, millimeter wave, and sub-terahertz spectrum, and it is important for an early identification of suitable bands and alignment with global harmonization efforts. In this context, the World Radio Communication Conference 2027 assumes critical importance. WRC 27 will shape global decisions on spectrum for IMT and 6G, non-terrestrial networks, direct-to-device satellite communication, etc. India is actively participating so that national priorities such as rural connectivity, disaster resilience, and satellite integration are effectively represented at the global level. In conclusion, the future of spectrum management is about unlocking opportunity as we move towards 6G and an era where satellite networks complement and support terrestrial networks and intelligent digital infrastructure. Challenge is to design policy frameworks that are flexible enough to adapt to rapid technological changes, yet robust enough to provide stability and certainty. TRAI remains steadfast in its commitment to transparent and progressive regulation, stakeholder engagement in policy making, strong international cooperation, and the vision of a digitally empowered and connected India. As a regulator, TRAI is contributing towards shaping policies and fostering innovation through effective regulatory frameworks to drive technological advancement and inclusive growth. At the end, I would once again like to thank and congratulate ITU-APT, Foundation of India, for hosting this 5th India Spectrum Management Conference and extend my best wishes for very fruitful and successful discussion over the 2 days period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sri Lahoti ji. We are truly grateful for having the opportunity to hear from you. And now I would request Sri Bharat Bhatia ji to kindly present the memento to all our dignitaries on the stage. I'd like to thank each one of you for joining us this morning to grace the conference. Firstly, to our Honorable Chief Guest, Sri Anil Kumar Lahoti ji. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. Can we have a huge hand, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Maniewicz, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Shri Rudra Narayan Palai ji, thank you, sir. Mr. Charles Cooper. Thank you, sir. Ms. Revati Mannepalli, ma'am. And Professor N.K. Goyal. Thank you, sir. I know we need to conclude, sir. I now request Professor N.K. Goyal to please conclude the inaugural session. He is a highly engaged leader in the ICT, mobile, telecom, education, alternate energy, multimedia, and infrastructure sectors. He actively participates in policy formulation as a representative on over 180 government committees and is known for facilitating international collaborations through delegations. Professor Goyal has remained instrumental in the introduction of key technologies like CDMA, codec, and 3G and 4G. Sir.
Thank you very much. Namaskar, good morning. It's a very important day for ITU-APT. Having Mr. Maria and Chairman Trai and Charles Cooper here. First time somebody from NTI, I think, if I am correct. Am I correct? He was coming earlier. Oh, sorry then. So, I'm sorry for that. Sir, thank you very much, and I would like to give special thanks to our Chairman Trai. Ever since he joined, he is in a fast boat. He has explained some of the things he has taken, but what he has not told you is that India is aggressively working to control the spams, and we are very advanced in the world for this thing. He is also very actively engaged for telecom manufacturing and 6G. Our thanks to Mr. Mario. You have very clearly given the vision of next for these things. Mr. Anand Pillai, Member Technology. We are looking to him for 6G spectrum and patents and indigenous technology and manufacturing. Thanks to Charles Cooper ji, thanks to Revati, and we wish you all the best for your elections. And let me also thank our own Mr. Bhatia, our leader, our president. He is in the field for 45 years, a global spectrum leader based in India. Thank you, Bhatia ji, for leading us. Thanks to all present here, but special thanks to IT Secretary from Pundishri. She is very smiling, coolly sitting here. All VIPs, all speakers, senior officers from DOT and other government departments, from telecom operators, I can see Ravi Gandhi ji here. From associations, Vikram Tivetia is here. ITU officers, office bearers, and our chairman, Mr. Dua, very sitting quietly, politely there. And to the ITU team, our officers, ITU team, and Arus especially. I would also like to thank the supporting organizations, CDOT, Bharat 6G Alliance, Ministry of Communications and DOT, DSA, in space, our partners, Amazon, Ericsson, GSMA, Meta, Qualcomm, Sure Incorporated, Tata Communications, Viceset, our media partner, Communication Today, but special thanks for official pre-summit event of AI Impact Summit. Thank you very much. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. I request all our eminent dignitaries on the stage and everyone here on the floor to kindly join us for tea by the pool and also for a group picture, please. Everyone, please proceed towards the pool for a group photograph. I request everyone to kindly be back at 11:30 for the first executive panel on spectrum management, key priorities for India. Everyone to kindly join